Well, good evening, Star Wars fans. Coming to you live for another episode of Holotheatre. As you can see, to my left is my co-host again, Justin Desai. Thanks, Justin, for coming on and taking over for
What's up, Dan?
Jerry.
Janimal.
And we are graced this week by Adam echobasetrooper Fletcher. So, how you doing tonight, Adam?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, anytime. So, you've been doing a lot for the community in the last couple since with COVID and everything. So once it started, uh, you've been doing really well on GEMP, and you're doing a lot lately. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time logged in to GEMP and watching all the games and doing well in LCS as well.
Adam, we got a little bit of an echo. Is that
mine?
I think it's. I want to say it's
Mine?
Adam, but I'm not sure.
Hang on a second.
Adam, just do a quick sound check. Yeah, just do a
Yeah.
quick, run your ops a little bit. In the meantime, Dan and I can kind of run down what we have for you in the show. We're going to talk to Adam, obviously, about the data and also his success in the OCS. He's sort of gone under the radar a little bit, but has put up some really respectable numbers and is on the top of the leaderboard this month. We're going to do, of course, Swing and the Miss. We have a pretty cool, extensive preview of Set 13. We'll put that towards the end of the show because people will kind of be excited about that. It's not going to be any specific spoilers, but it's going to be just talking about the set. I'm on design for that, so I can give some of the secrets away. And then we are going to also preview some future shows, and we've got some exciting guests on the docket of the next couple weeks, so it should be some really good some really sort of solid guests and from a lot of different topics, a lot of different pieces of expertise coming your way. So while we figure out Adam's tech issue, looks like he's coming
there
back
we
now. There we go. Let me actually scan to see the questions too.
You know what? I was going to say it's. I'm the one who's echoing. So here, let me see what's going on with that really quick. But it seems to have stopped, or not.
Let me ask the chat to make sure. How is the clarity? Jared's saying it is good. Okay, cool. Yes, we're good to go.
So we're good now?
Yeah, I think we're good.
We're good now. All right, let's jump into it. So,
yeah,
Adam, when did you start? Like, how did you start the whole data collection? Like, what was the first process early on? We can talk about the sort of what it is now, but how did it begin?
So I think it was the end of March, where there was that one day when there were a bunch of games where the strength of schedule was swinging around for all of the people that were at the top of the leaderboard. And like Dan did that stream for
Eric and Paul Myers were like neck and neck.
Yeah. Like I figured out how many games their opponents had left because based on their strength of schedule, like there's only a number of fractions that for how many games your opponents have played. So I figured out how many games their opponents have played. Like one of them,
I see.
All of their opponents had played 12 games except for one. They had two people that had played 9 games. So I was like, oh man, I want to know which player that was. I just wanted to know that kind of thing. So I was like, okay, I want to track all that. So
you're kind of like the
next month,
Moneyball of Star Wars CCG, like the Billy Bean.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know that kind of stuff. So in April, I started the first games. I copied the string that's in the GEMP lobby where it says who's playing and which side they are and what deck. So that's all. I just copy those and paste it into a spreadsheet that I made that will parse everything out, and I just note who won the game. Then from there, like the thing I had been interested in originally was just strength of schedule and knowing who played who. Then it seemed like since I had all of the deck information, that was something that people would like to know about. So I started posting all of that on the forums.
Okay, that's really cool. So you do all that pretty much by hand, or do you drag the data out of GEMP somehow?
I do it all by hand.
Wow.
Have the GEMP lobby open most of the day, and I just copy out the text there and paste it into my spreadsheet.
That's pretty
And
impressive.
if I've missed a game,
yeah, you've messaged me a few times. I'm like, oh my god, I don't remember. Legend and something, whatever. I don't know.
So how long does it take you to do, like, say, a month's worth of data to put it into your spreadsheet?
I do it each game individually. Like when the game happens, I copy it and paste it in, and then if I have missed a game, I've been doing different stuff each month. Kind of stopped asking every single person specifically because I felt like that was getting annoying.
Yeah.
People didn't remember or whatever.
Right.
And I get most of the games anyways, so.
Now, you're clearly a numbers guy. Sorry, I cut you off.
You're fine.
Clearly, you're a numbers guy. What significance do you give the data? Like, for instance, on a specific month, on like a win rate, right? So, like, I think it was No Idea, was it, that had a really high win rate last month.
Yeah.
But then, say it's outlier stuff, and people playing the deck. It could be high quality people playing it. It could be sort of newer players playing it. How much credence do you give to your own data for a specific month? Obviously, the stuff that's that spans 3 years, you might have a little bit more data sets or something like that. But on a specific, let's say if we were to look at the last 2 months, and we were to look at ISB, that's a deck that's been in people's consciousness recently, and it had a specific play rate and win rate. What do you garner from those numbers?
I don't really think the win rate is that reliable, especially for just 1 or 2 months. Like you said, it could be just if only brand new players are playing it, and if only the best players, like Watto was doing really well, only top players were playing it for a couple months. So I don't think the win rate is that reliable for one specific month. Even how often they're played, people just like playing whatever deck, and they just play that one. I do think that one is a little better though. Like SB is definitely the most played deck right now. It's not just because people like playing it in the OCS. That's just what people are playing.
It's just the most played. Yeah, and that sometimes has been the case over the course of the history of this game. I remember for a long time in the early stages of the PC era, 2002, maybe 2003, like Hoth Walkers was the most played deck in like real life events. Obviously, didn't have a gem, but it wasn't a particularly good deck, and I don't think it had a particularly high win rate, and nor did it really win that much. So sometimes those things happen where people just like playing a deck, and it doesn't necessarily put up results. But I think ISB has put up some results in OCS. It's qualified some people.
Yeah, and with ISB, I mean, I think it's gotten a lot of boost just because, one, we have had a lot of V cards for the deck, and people seem to remember that ISB back in the day was just a good deck. Justin and we were all talking about like the history of the game. ISB has, from its inception, has been just a very strong, very popular deck. So people like those control type of decks. So they just have good memories of it. But yeah, clearly with cards like Moff Gideon now and just all the helpers that has gotten over the last few years, yeah, I can see ISB being a good, strong deck.
Yeah, slip sliding away, right? That was a big one.
Yes. So Adam, what you kind of alluded to this. So you've been going. Is it just this year that you've been doing, or have you been going back since the inception of the OCS, looking at all this data?
For the deck specific data, it's just this year because that's not stored in GEMP. I was able to get from the GEMP team a winner and loser of every single OCS game that has ever happened.
Wow.
I had already created a rating system just myself, just to use all of the data that I had tracked myself this year. Once I got all of that data from the GEMP team, it's really easy to just throw that into the system I had already created to generate the ratings for the historical OCS.
So,
Dan, do you want to throw that up? Do you
yeah,
have that?
I was actually just going to say that. So, for those who want to know what Adam is talking about with his ratings, so Adam has actually gone out and, as you can see on the screen right now, he's made a little bit of a ratings chart. So you can see like this is based
Dan,
on
start with the like the scatter plot. It was really sort of
yeah.
visually.
Okay.
I don't know if you have that, the one you sent me first, and then we can get into the individual,
Yeah.
like more traditional table format. But I think the scatter plot is really something.
Yeah, the scatter. Yeah. Let me pull that up really quick.
You linked if you want to just find it from Slack too. I know you sent
On this
it to
page,
us.
if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a link to the other one also.
Okay. I'm not seeing. Where's the link?
Where it says metadata at the bottom right, it says OCS ratings 2018 to present.
Ah.
On the bottom right.
Okay.
Right there. You got it.
So yeah, we were talking about the scatter plot. Adam, you want to go over this?
Yeah, Adam, go ahead. I played around with it last night, but this is your baby. You should have the description of the community.
Yeah, so this is the graph by game of the OCS rating for every single player that has ever played an OCS game. And it makes it really easy to compare different people. Like if you click on the player's name in the right, it will highlight just that person's line and kind of gray out everyone else.
Yeah,
Just choose.
Yeah,
so you're picking me, Dan, or you're about to pick on me. Pick me. So that's that's from 2018.
Right, the first game, February 2018.
Okay, so I was just.
And it also has. So everyone starts at 1500, and then from there, based on who you play, your score goes up or down based on how far away their rating was at the time of the game, and then who won the game. So
it's a traditional ELO system.
Yeah, I like how with this one in particular, like if you hover over a line, like I'm trying to hover over Justin's line just to show for an example, you can see like how many games he's played, like who his opponent was, and that's just cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And you can definitely like, and in fact, you can hit every every player. You can see people who dipped. Let's not shame anybody, Dan, on the bottom, but we can definitely pick a few people on the top. I think you can actually pick the lines. Click directly on the line, right?
Yeah, we'll take me because I have a nice little dip.
Right. Yeah, you could pick. Yeah, Dan, let's see where you're at. Okay, so you kind of dip, but you had a little mid. What is that? Around the 96th game, you had a little hot streak, 96 to 108.
Yeah.
But yeah, not the best right now. You'd have to rally, Dan.
Well, I've been trying to get better, so I need somebody to take me under their wing and like show me how to get better at this game.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Can you let's click on someone that has recently played. Is it just a flat line?
So like if you click on mine.
Okay.
Yeah, so you haven't played all 3 years. What happens if you click on Adams?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And what happens if you click on Darth Link? Because he's someone who hasn't played since the first year for the ML.
Yeah, it just looks like he just cuts off. So
it cuts off. Okay, makes sense. So he just stopped where he was.
Yeah, he looks like he's played only 99 games.
And he won the first month. I think it was him. Yeah, I forget who else, but he won the very first month.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just like how you got everybody who's played, even if they don't play like a lot. So like Tom from Gemp.
And I think Tom from Gemp, who's been great on Gemp. Gavino, Paul Myers. I'm sure they're all pretty high up there.
Yeah.
They're sort of the Gemp Warriors.
Yeah.
Silver Glen. Wonder who actually has the most overall games. Not necessarily OCS, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are maxed out on OCS, but I wonder who's played the most Jump games. Probably Silver Glen, right?
Let's see.
Maybe Tom.
I would guess Tom.
Tom, yeah, probably Jump Tom. Has to be Tom.
Well, I mean, because right now it looks like it cuts off about 252. So,
right.
Scott's up there.
It's 252, just the max.
Yeah.
Number.
So it doesn't actually. The game count isn't necessarily how many games that person has played up to that point. It's for the first 12 games. If they didn't make it to all 12 games of the first month, then they track a rating point. Just like they're rating out this game.
Adam, has
250.
Is the playoffs in there?
No, it's not.
Interesting.
I have the data, but the playoffs just seems like they're so different than
weird. I mean, Bash and I would both be 3-1, and everyone else would sort of smart. Matt, just cancel out.
I had it in there originally, but then I had to take it out.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because like, it's sort of like playoff stats don't go to like average. Michael Jordan's career average does not include his playoff stats. You probably do a pretty small like playoff performance tab or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you want to put up a tabular one just so we can see? Because we can talk. There's a little bit of chatter on the boards about like, why is this getting posted? If it's getting used, but I think it's just cool to have it. I'll speak a little bit about that. I think it's just cool to have it sort of something that it could be for the future. Qualifications or something.
So we'll go into the ratings now.
You might need to zoom, I think, because I'm on YouTube and it's a little bit hard to see when you.
Yeah.
You may want to like max your screen or something. I'm not sure if you can zoom on the actual browser page on the.
Yeah, I'll zoom on the map browser page. There we go. How's that look?
I think that's still gonna be pretty hard for people to see, but I could be wrong. Oh no! If you go full, if you're watching at home, just go full screen. So yeah, so you've got All Stars, which is me, Silver Glen, Tom, Paul Myers, Bastion, Eric, Brian, Fred, Steve Baroni, and Steve Bredson, who hasn't played in a while.
Yeah.
You've got so that's a deep. There's some top players there for sure. Jared Adams there himself. Crypto.
Did we lose Adam?
Oh, I think he's calling back.
Okay.
Sorry about that. It dropped for something.
It's been a little bit wonky tonight, guys, but we'll make it work. Yeah, but this is some pretty impressive. I think, one of the things on the forums that people were discussing was, if we're going to use the ratings for anything substantial, people should have known that it was going to sort of matter beforehand. And I think that's a reasonable criticism, but I think it's just cool to have it here.
Yeah.
No one's really saying this is going to be used for anything. And I think it's almost like, hey, this is something that could be used for something really cool, and you just have to have a start date. I think when Magic did different ratings changes, they announced that, hey, it would start 3 months from now or whatever. And then some people sort of backtrack their data with the new system, and they're like, here's what it would look like, which is essentially what Adam's doing. I don't think that Adam's intention is to really like say, okay, player of the year points based on rating or anything like that. That wouldn't really make sense because people have played like absurd decks like last week's challenge or just tried different things. I've done that. Or just sort of said, yeah, whatever, like I'm already qualified. If you would think actually qualifying early in a year would potentially, if you bought a season pass and you qualified in the first month, potentially your rating could just be really low because you're like, whatever, I like foils and I'll play this deck, or I'll just, I'm hungry. I don't really want to slog through this game.
Yeah.
Or I'm playing a slow opponent and I'm just like, I'm not for it right now. Like I really don't want to, Dr. Torch Hunt Down Dueling. Like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to do it right now.
Yeah.
So like, you know, but I think it's a powerful tool, and as all these things are coming together for the PC, there's a lot of like things in the, like last week Scott was saying we have a new deck building tool. Now we have a way to potentially calculate ratings. There could be a concept, like it used to be sanctioned games, right? So we could have a new sanctioned game, which is like Open Series is sanctioned games, and or something like that, where maybe there's a few less Open Series fires pretty quickly, but maybe you could get, you know, OCS games and then another 12 games, so you could get 24 sanctioned games in a month, and that could go towards rating for the 2021 calendar year. And then maybe you could do like an invitational, you know what I mean, where it's the winners of majors and the top 10 ratings. You know, that'd be kind of cool, something like that. So people certainly want to play the game right now.
Yeah, I was going to say another thing is, I mean, we have Player of the Year, which, and if you're a sports player, that's like your MVP. Why don't we have like a GEMP Player of the Year or an OCS Player of the Year who doesn't win the who just plays like from the start to the end of the OCS?
OCS actually is used for Player of the Year.
Yeah, but I'm saying like say there's like another award who we go off these rating system and has like over the year the highest rating at the end of the year. That's just like something that it gives you something to people to play for besides the foils.
Yeah,
like,
you
there's
can add
a lot of things. There's a lot of things that this opens up, and it's great that Adam, it's great that Adam's taking the time.
For sure, yeah, I think Adam is a little wild that he's doing this. It's a little crazy. You're kind of like the old baseball guys, you know what I mean? Who like do the stats, like fantasy sports, like before computers. You're kind of like one of those guys.
Yeah.
Remember like fantasy baseball in like 7. All right.
Yeah, I could see Adam sitting there at a tournament, not playing, but he's got like a score sheet and he's just filling everything out, watching everybody play, kind of like the people do at baseball games. That's fun.
Right.
I mean, thanks, Adam. So yeah, let's talk about.
Pop in just real quick, Dan, just to give everyone keep asking questions.
Yeah, I was going to say. So let's talk about Adam. So, what got you into the game? Because I mean, as we saw, you're not, according to your rankings, you're not a slouch. You're not. You're doing pretty well.
So, I mean, I started playing, I don't know, like around Endor, but I've never actually played competitive games. Like first tournament I was ever in was after the reset. Like, I just played with my friends and that's about it. And we weren't very good. And then, I don't know, this year I decided I wanted to be in the OCS. So my goal at the beginning of the year was to make it to 6 wins in a month.
Nice. Well, you've certainly passed that. You want to look at one of the at-large bids, correct?
I think so.
And right now I'm second. Yeah.
And you're looking good this month to potentially qualify. I'm looking at it right now.
I'm 8-2 right now. So if 10-2 can qualify, then maybe, but I kind of doubt it for this month. I just missed out the last 2 months.
Yeah, I was going to say Steve came in, and who else was it? Who came in like at the last minute to bump you?
Yeah, so last month Silver Glen.
Yeah.
Edged me out by less than 1 game.
Oh.
Like when I mentioned earlier that the reason I was doing this was to know the strength of schedule, like I knew exactly who needed to win games or lose games, and it was off by literally less than 1 game either direction. If any of my opponents had won 1 more game or lost 1 fewer game, then but
that's a tough pill to swallow.
That's all right.
Yeah,
you're looking good. So you've been playing. What have you been playing this month or the last couple months?
So for Lakeside, I've been playing WAP.
Really?
Yes. So I've been playing WAP. I'm basically the only person that has played it for the last month. There's one other game.
Can you talk about your WAP list without giving away all the secrets? Because WAP is a deck that, especially with ISB being pretty heavily played without having access to Blount or like a really great space fleet. How are you beating ISB? And also, what's the deck? What's the deck in general? What's different about it? What makes this WAP special and able to give you such a high win rate with it?
I don't really know why I'm winning so much with it. I do know, like, I did tech a lot for Hunt Down, and I played against more Hunt Down than you'd expect.
Okay.
And I haven't played against ISB too much. I do have a winning record against it, but no, I've just been able to like clear them off of a few sites. Like there hasn't been a lot of them just stacking one site. As if they stack one site with ISB, like the flip side of the objective caps their drains at 2. Like I don't even need to occupy 3 battlegrounds. It just already does that for me. So if they stack the courtyard, like they're only doing 2 damage.
Yeah.
So
well, what do you do about like with Imp to Cree, because that's one of WAP's biggest problems.
I think that people overblow how much that hurts the deck. Like, yes, obviously, it would be better if they didn't play Imperial Decree, but doing 1 damage a turn is still something.
Yeah.
There was one game I played this year where my opponent didn't have Imperial Decree, and I did 4 damage a few times, and that feels insanely broken. So I think it's okay that Imperial Decree is a card.
Yeah.
Cool.
The game didn't last very long.
That's cool. You kind of have a deck that you're doing well with, and other people haven't really played it. That's always a good feeling. So what have you been playing for Darksider? Has that been switched up too? Or switched up, I should say.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, I was playing Map. I don't know. It was a deck that seemed okay, and then I decided to switch to something else, and I tried a ton of different decks and settled on AOBS, so that's what I've been playing.
Yeah, Dark's kind of wide open. Like something can feel really good and then feel really bad, and then nothing really changes. Like you can be like, this. I finally got someone that's winning and go on this like sweet win streak, and then like sort of run into its problems, and you're like, oh right, this deck really does have some problems, and then you switch to someone else, and this sort of the same formula happens. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
Cool, good stuff, Adam.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, good luck the rest of the month. I think you're looking good. There's not that many people slotted in to go like X1. I don't see anybody really like undefeated. I haven't looked at it too much, but
yeah, I think right now there's not. As you were saying, I don't see any X and ones right now. I think your biggest problem though is your strength of schedule, because looking at it, you're about like 35%. Whereas Gavino and Stubley are like sitting at 50, 51%. So,
but they're 9-3. They won't qualify. It's more about the people sort of lower down or like 5 or 6 games that will could potentially pass him at 10-2, or someone just outright gets him at 11-1, which could happen. Right? Sometimes there's a sort of last 10 days someone gets hot.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's one person who does that, one person who starts off really hot, or one person who's like plays really carefully throughout the month and make sure that they have a focus time to like lock in.
Well, I know looking at it right now, Taco Bill is the highest undefeated. He's 4-0. He's
4-0. Taco Bill.
Right.
All right. What else do we got, Dan?
So
let's move it along.
We'll go into swing and a miss really quick. See what people think about some stuff there. So first one we got is, I think this was brought up on the forums by Gamp Tom. The top 3 dark side decks right now are just 3 variances of ISB.
Adam, you can go first.
I'll say it's a hit. I watch a lot of games, and one of the things that I would like to do, but would take away too much time, is track all of the different builds of decks. I don't differentiate between ISB, but all of the games that I watch, every single different kind of ISB seems to win. So
I'm gonna go with swing and a miss. I think a couple things. I don't necessarily think that all 3 of the builds are strong. I'm a big fan of Steve's. And I think there's I'm not saying that his is the only one that's strong. The ones that are more character beatdown based are fine too. But the data is showing that a lot. If you're saying top decks is like what people are playing the most, sure, that could be. Adam would know the answer to that more than I would. In terms of top decks like skills, I think there's some other decks that are just as good or not a little bit better. I think Black Sun's really good. I think IE, given the right matchups, really good. Watto's got a couple really good matchups and some worse matchups. I think there's a couple other dark decks that are up there too. So I don't agree that it's like ISB is this sort of mint deck that is just crushing everything the way that like, you know, ROPS did right before Worlds and even more so after Worlds, or like, you know, Throne Room was at times, or OA. You know, I don't think it's in that category where it even would become close to needing a tweak or an errata right now. Where like, you know, those other decks I think all needed it.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree 100% with Justin. ISB it's a beatable deck. It is. I mean, yeah, it's overall I would say it's probably the best deck. But you said it. AOBS is good. Court's good still. I mean,
Court.
Court has this bad matchup, but it's still a solid deck, especially with its space package. It probably has the best space package in the game. IE, like I'm expecting IE to be played a lot, especially with its Hunt Down. Still a decent deck. People are going to play it. So,
overall, Tom Kelly's playing again now, so IE will be played 6 more times.
Yeah, I think it's a good deck, but I'll tell you what, I'm actually curious to see Steve's version of the deck. Like, is he playing the big blue? Just the
it's the same stuff as before.
Okay.
Like, I mean, he played Watto, I think. I don't know. We've played a couple different things, but I played his deck, his ISB deck for a month. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Okay,
I've been playing that. I've been playing Watto. I haven't played much AOPS.
Watto is just fun. It is. I mean, I will say this: it's annoying to play against sometimes, but it's fun. Okay, so moving on. So for August, I know we're still in July right now, but let's move on to August really quick for a second. So in August, one of the people who's going to make the OCS, so one of the 2 slots, is going to be somebody who hasn't played from between April to June. So I'm thinking like a Tom Kelly, a Mike Gem. You were saying earlier, Sperling?
Yeah, Matt
Sperling. Even Hayes hasn't played. So I think it's going to be one of those guys, like somebody who hasn't played for a while. Matt Sperling's actually watching right now, so.
Cool. I think has a very high likelihood of being it's a hit. I think that's you listed some top players. Mike, if he gets back into it, for sure. Tom Kelly's good. Hayes is obviously really good. So, like, you know, if those guys are playing in the OCS and also with a lot of the sort of more grinder type jump guys who play a lot have already qualified. So the stuff passes down, or people aren't really caring as much. Just for instance, like Silver Glen has qualified, right? So that's someone who has, you know, who would be left who's been really competitive. Let's say that Adam qualifies this month. It would be like Myers, but Myers might not really care because he's kind of locked in with the at large.
Gavino, he's
Gavin.
Stubley hasn't made it. Stubley's been up there all the time.
Yeah, so you're having those guys compete with, you know, Tom Kelly, Mike Gem, Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
Those, you know, the ladder is. I always mess up the ladder and the former. I don't know what it is, but the Hayes, Mike, you know, Tom is certainly a stronger player, you know, pool. No disrespect to the other guys, but those are 3, you know, really top guys.
Yeah.
So I think if they're all of a sudden back, that's really cool. And I think, you know, Sperling, it's really cool that he's jumped in. It's really cool that he's, you know, some of his posts on the boards and joining one of those teams. It's pretty sweet that someone who's taken high level Magic seriously is playing. I played him the other night, and it was a quick game, but you know, he's clearly taking it seriously, and I think that's a big part of being good at the game, is taking it seriously and wanting to do well, right? Not just wanting to like blow up the executor, but actually wanting to like win the game. You know, try to get better and learn and do research and look at TRs and look at, well, not TRs, but look at deck lists and look at formats and learn what to play around it and stuff like that. So I think he's, you know, it would be pretty remarkable for him to get really good so quickly, but, you know, smart guy, and surround himself with the right people, he can do that.
Okay, what do you think, Adam?
I agree with that. I think it's a hit. I think I also wouldn't be surprised if it is, you know, people that have been playing the entire year. Like, it's hard to say, like, just one specific person will qualify in a month. You might run into a couple bad matchups. But I do think, like Justin was saying, that those players you would expect to do.
Yeah. Like, Chris Kelly hasn't made it. I mean, I know he's somebody who...
Oh, Chris Kelly's another one.
Yeah. Like, so Steve Salucci's playing more. Crypto's playing. Charlie hasn't made it. He made it last year, so... It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for, like...
Are there 2 more months or 1 more month? Is there August, September? Is it...
I think it's just July and August are the last 2, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure August is the last month.
Okay, so we got
a lot of good players have qualified, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we got one more for Swing and a Miss.
Adam, you go first on this one. All right.
Righty.
So the number of episode 9 cards that are going to be coming out in set 13, do you think it's going to be over or under 7?
Oh, do you want
strictly episode 9?
Episode 9. So they said that it was solo themed. So which ones? It's a hit. Is that over or under?
Just say over or under. It's going to be easier that way.
Go with under. Go with under.
You know what? I'm going to go with the push. I think it's going to be exactly 7. Okay, Justin.
Yeah, I'm going to go with over. Why not? I think it's going to be a big set, so
yeah,
it's not totally fleshed out. So I think over, sure.
Okay. Okay, so that's all we got for Swing and a Miss, and it's a hit for this week. Little short, little quick and easy. So let's move on to card of the week really quick. Justin was the one who picked this one, so let me just pull it up.
Yeah, I picked. I always forget the card title. I think it actually has. Does it have 2 card titles on Gem?
No,
it doesn't. It did, right? At one point.
At one point, it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
The card name changed.
The card name changed. So it is. I think I can handle myself, and it's a pretty unique card. And I think the question I have is: would people like to see this as a dark side card? And if yes, what theme would you want it on? Would you want it to be females? Would you want it to be apprentices for dark side, so like a Kylo, Mara, Ventress type helper? Would you want it to see it as a bounty hunter helper, or whatever you want? What would people like to see on that card? I know you guys can speak about it too. I think it's a pretty versatile card.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, because it has the 3 modes.
I think we start off with Adam. You want to go ahead?
I like that card. Like, I think it would be interesting as a dark side card. I don't think specifically bounty hunters need the help out of the things you listed, but like the others, like just a straight mirror. I mean, not exactly, but for females, I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, who would that be? So Mara,
or
Asajj, Zane Asard, yeah.
Yeah, there's just some decent ones.
Arsene, Lady Proxima.
Proxima, right.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Afra.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny because you would go through it and you would know You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
for light side, you kind of know because of this card.
Yeah.
So you know like the female count in your decks.
I
But
mean,
dark, there's no real incentive, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's the question is would it fit into what deck would it fit into? So with a deck
Jury.
like Hunt Down, for example, you don't really play a lot of females outside of maybe Mara, and a lot sometimes they don't even play Mara; they play the ship. So there's
I guess
that.
it'd be interesting in Black Sun too, and then maybe you'd
Hmm.
even see them naming another alien, like Erica or Mara, and then like another female alien. That'd be kind
Yeah.
of cool. And you already got Guri and Aura Singh and Zam.
Hmm. I don't know. Like I don't think does dark. The question is, does Darkseid need something like this? Like, who would you point out as the key female? Because obviously the key female in this one is Rey.
That's a good point.
So would you make
Yeah,
it?
and it could change. Some parts of it could change, but like I think a Drain +1. I
Hmm.
actually think Drain +1 is like a text that we should see more often. I think like time
Yes.
games are an issue in real life events,
Yeah.
and oftentimes characters have like battle destiny modifiers on them. And that's
Hmm.
been sort of like the sort of default push of the adds a destiny with this person, adds a destiny with this person. But maybe in the old Decipher days, there were a lot of cards had 4 strain +1, like Janice
Yeah.
and Galen and Pechamar. Those are sort of the key texts. So having 4 strain +1 on guys, like the new Maul has it, which I think is really cool. But
Yeah.
in this card for light side, but like having like just a guy who adds to a drain,
Hmm.
would be cool instead of adding a destiny adds a drain.
Yeah, and like the even with the so I like the part of the text where if Rey's alone, so you make her immune to attrition, she adds to a destiny to power, so or you can just cancel. Like it's such a versatile card. You don't. I mean, I play it in my throne room now, like because I run like oh well I play Leia with blaster rifle in that deck, so something to help protect Leia. Or you run Rey, so you can again something to help Rey. So yeah, it's just a good card. So yeah, it would be
Agreed.
interesting. It would be interesting seeing something like this as a dark side card, not something exactly like this, but just something with the same kind of versatility.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think you would want to see it exactly mirrored.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, that's interesting. A droid card that helps a stunning move, and the droid bounty hunters like IG, and then
Mm-hmm.
also cards like P59. That's really interesting.
That's so good. That's an interesting one. Yeah.
It's also cool with like the power destinies because a lot of them draw if not able to otherwise. Like IG
Mm-hmm.
and P59 draw essentially IG does. That's cool. I like that.
Might
Some good
actually see
suggestions.
like might actually see some more droid bounty hunter because yeah,
Helping invasion would be cool. A power destiny for droids would be really cool because
yeah,
some draw if not able to. It's hard to do destiny adders with droids because like P59 and P60 draw one destiny together
yeah.
because of the way they're worded. So if you could add a power destiny, switch off virtual 6 destiny. Whoa, destiny creep
Now
guys.
we're talking. Now we're
Power
talking a little
creep.
crazy.
What's the other card though? Wasn't there another card that was like part of that deck that was like the probe droid blowing up?
Um,
Or just another.
Destruct mechanism.
There's plenty of pictures of
yeah.
droids that they could use for virtual cards.
Or make some cool alternate image ones. Like, I mean, the graphics team has gotten a lot better with a lot of their images
Self-destruct.
lately.
Yeah, the graphics team had. I wish we had some of the early stuff. Actually, I mean, it's been really good recently.
Yeah.
Not to like shame the early stuff because the early stuff was they did the best they could, but the stuff that they've come out, especially with locations, I feel like the location
Yeah.
art has been like insane.
Well, I know with like say all the Act Two locations that are actually from the site. So somebody
Like
actually went
went
there.
there.
Somebody went there and took pictures, and we used them for a lot of those.
That's
So,
crazy.
like, I know the beach is an actual beach picture that they used. Uh, Vader's castle was an easy one. So,
How
yeah,
did they do that?
I just played with the shading on it.
Oh, I thought you like traveled to I thought Vader's Castle was like a real place. Like what? What is he?
Oh yeah.
Road trip to Mustafar. Oh my god.
That would be interesting. So, you had something that you wanted to bring up, though, Justin. Right? Is that right? Or do we want to
Oh
do
yeah.
it?
So this is a proposal I had suggested to the advocate. So I suggested it to Chris Kelly, and he liked the idea. And then I don't know if it was. There's obviously stuff that the advocates know that we don't know. It plays a role in their decision making process. But I actually had thought that for AIs of virtual cards, that we actually pick some of the more expensive decipher cards to use as AIs for some virtual cards that have sort of cheaper backings that people could sort of use their product they might be saving up. Their sort of prized collections actually get to play with them. So a great example of that would be the Yoda that is on the One Destiny Yoda that's on cents.
Yep.
Which cents per dollar or whatever. To put the AI, make it the Coruscant Yoda. And obviously there's a little bit of confusion with pictures, but I think people would get the hang. AIs already have that, so wouldn't add any other layers to that AIs haven't already had. So the Yoda, I think the Coruscant Maul is another one. And then if we I don't know if it would make sense for like Chewie with Bowcaster to use this, and it's not a full art card anyway. But like if we were to make a Chewie to do like Let the Wookiee Win using that card as the underlying card, I think it would be a good like economy booster sort of to people to. The card economy is going crazy anyway with the prices.
Yeah.
But people have all these cards, let them use them.
Oh no, I wholeheartedly agree with you. That was something Chris brought up, and the big one was the Yoda, because it's such a nice picture of Yoda. So why don't we use it? Yeah, that's something that I would like to sit down and talk to. I mean, I'm not an advocate, but yeah, I think that would be something that we could do.
Yeah, someone in the chat is saying Galen Starkiller AI foil white border card is still my favorite card. I agree.
Yeah,
I think they only made 5 of those, and they did it for the first year I won Worlds. I got that, and it's definitely like a sentimental value card. And it's definitely like a really nice looking card too.
What do you think, Adam? Do you want to see like new AIs for such cards as like the Yoda, or do you just want to keep it how it is?
I think it's cool to have those other ones. We're doing it so just selfishly as a member of the proofing team. If we do it, one of the cards is full art and one of them isn't, having to create 2 slips would be really annoying. So I have to proof both of them, and then they don't match. But yeah, I like the idea. Multiple AIs, I think that's cool.
People in the chat, if you like this idea, let's do it. Oh yeah, sweet. There it is.
This is like probably like I think the coolest card they ever made, and they foiled it. I can take it out of the thing.
Justin, do you just have that sitting on your bookcase?
I have it's in like my trophy thing. It's in a mug actually, more like the team tournament mugs. But actually, nice. The quality's really good. You can barely tell. This is the old PC foil paper.
Yeah.
So you can see how it doesn't even look like it's. It doesn't even look like it has like the edges, and there were only 5 made. So they did it for like the majors that year. So there's like an MPC one. There was I believe this is true. I could be wrong, but there was an MPC one. There was a Worlds one. This is the Worlds one, and I think there was like Texas Mini Worlds. What was the other event we always had? There's always another one.
There was the San Diego Grand Prix.
Yeah, whatever it was, there were 5.
Yeah.
And it's a sweet one.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I like the idea. More AIs, Let's make the game as pretty as we can.
Should we bring this card back? Should I read his text?
I would love to see it.
For those of you who didn't play 5 years ago, he was a 6/5 character, deploy 5, forfeit 7. Galen, Marek, Starkiller. Galen's forfeit may not be reduced. That was the big one. Power and defensive value +2 when with Maris Brood. She was a 3/3 pilot, right?
No, you're thinking Mars Brood was the light side. opposite of her.
Oh, really?
Of him. Yeah, she was the light side Jedi. Did you ever play the
Oh,
Force
yeah, you're right.
Unleashed? Yeah. But the pilot, I mean, the pilot, we had great images.
Oh,
They did
right. I have.
great call.
She's in the text too. So if
Yeah,
defending a battle alone or defending with Juno Eclipse, that's the one I'm talking
yeah,
about. May be targeted by Force Lightning, immune to Clash of Sabers, and attrition less than 4. Yeah, he was a beast card.
yeah.
Bring that card back.
Bring him back. You know what? Bring back Virtual Hunt Down that was about him.
Yeah, that was a sweet one, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, this is definitely my favorite card. Like favorite PC card for sure.
yeah. That's definitely one of them up there for me. Like that one and the Juno. That entire virtual set.
Yeah, that's a really good. That was and like we kind of ruined it because we did like slavers and all that other stuff. But and like community probably got a little bit too good. Bring him back as episode 9, Kylo Ren. It's not a bad call.
Yeah. You know what I'm waiting for? An episode 3 Darth Vader.
Yeah, that would be cool, huh?
That you can play in like ASM.
Did you should have like got some pictures of young Darth Vader from like your trip to Mustafar. All right. Well,
you know what? I'll make sure I take my camera next time when I go out there.
Security. It's like Sith guards, no cameras.
Okay, so let's move on to our deck building challenge. So last week, Scott came up with his Boom Pod RST objective little deck that he played back in the day. Dylan, I don't know if you're watching right now. You were earlier, but we had somebody complete the challenge, so they'll be given one of our prize cards, the Holotheatre, the virtual Holotheatre, or virtual. So this week's challenge, because it is online play week, we're gonna go with win a game with either of the 2 demo decks. So we're talking like you can go up to as far as they were expanded on. So I think it was you can actually use like shields and stuff. You can have starting effects and everything, but you got to use the demo decks, and it will be allowed in an OCS or an open league format. So no Jawa, nothing Jawa. It has to be an open or an OCS game. So if you do it, again, just PM me a link to the game, and we'll announce it next week as a winner.
Nice. It's a good one.
So
it's a good one. So yeah. So who are we trying to get next week? We're trying to get.
So I think we're going to try Troy next week, the creator of GEP, and then I think we got a few guests lined up after that. I know you were talking about.
We'll do some outreach. I'll talk to Mike. Maybe we can do some outreach to some other people. And I thought the post about that Jared was doing with the history of the game and like the total number when he points similar to what we're doing here. He point systemed all the top 8s for Worlds, and he gave like wins a certain number, and he basically created like pro points for Worlds. And Chu was number 1. That was really cool.
Yeah,
and we could talk about that and like the history of majors and nationals and player of the years and stuff like that. Because there's some years that have had player of the year and some years that they just didn't have it.
I know Jared's been somebody I want to have on just because he's been doing a lot for the PC.
And I think that stuff is interesting for people who played in that era, and it's also interesting for people who didn't, to sort of get a sense of what it was like. I think those things are cool to see. Like, all right, Chu's played 13 Worlds and is top 8'd every one of them or something like that. That's a pretty impressive stat. So like that type of stuff.
That's insane. So Jared or Adam, sorry, thinking like I'm screwing up names left and right here. So Adam, I think we're going to move on to at least one is my favorite segments of the show, the spelling challenge. So you said you've watched it a few times, so you know what this is all about, right?
This is also my favorite segment.
I think it's everybody's favorite segment just because I butcher names left and right. So first things first, Jared, do you have Twitch open?
I do not.
Okay. So I'm going to show this card on the screen for our viewers, and then I'm going to pronounce it, and then you get to spell it. Okay, so our card this week is Yarna. Or hold on. I'm actually going to pull up the card again so that Yarna Dal Gargran.
Oh boy.
Yep. Yep. It's the Jabba's Palace light side effect, Destiny 6. Deploy on your side of table while you have fewer than 13 cards in hand. Your non-unique cards in hand, except effects and any kind of interrupts, are immune to Monarch. Immune to alter when you occupy 2 battlegrounds. Yarna Dal Gargran.
Right. So YARNA E''AL''GARGAN.
Okay, you're the second person to ever complete this.
Let's go. What does he win? What prize does he win?
So he wins.
Does he win the card?
You get the foil Holotheatre with Jerry as Vader. So just
Nice.
I'll need your address and we'll get to you out. Should be this week. Yeah, that was like you even got the apostrophes in there. So
yeah, the apostrophe was crazy. That's great. I mean, for someone who spends a good 11 hours a day looking at OCS stats, I can't say I'm
not surprised.
Really that surprised. But nicely done for sure. Impressive, most impressive.
Okay, the virtual version didn't exist. I don't know if I would have gotten it, but
that's a good point.
Yeah, virtual cards. That's true. You have to read them twice.
So I think Justin, you have one thing.
I read them far more than twice.
You did far more than twice. All right, yeah. So the final thing of the show, we're gonna do a little bit of a set 13 preview. Not so much the spoilers, but the themes, just so they're sort of locked in. And I asked Chris Kelly if this was allowed, and he said he never responded back. So we'll just do it anyway. Why not, right?
Better to ask for forgiveness.
Right. Big themes are going to be the Solo movie, the critically acclaimed Solo movie. Won multiple Oscars for sound. So the themes there will be the guys who sort of helped Han Solo out during his time, like Beckett, the Woody Harrelson character, and Kira, and some of the characters in their younger personas, Lando and Han in their younger personas. And since they were smuggling stuff to Kessel, they'll be smugglers, a lot of them. And then the bad guys in that movie were sort of on the gangster crime type boss vibe. And that will be focused in this set, along with and a separate arc will be some stuff from Rebels. So the TV show came back and Disney Plus has it. So we're trying to, much like with the Moff Gideon card from The Mandalorian, trying to sort of extract some stuff from, Rebels and Mandalorian and Clone Wars show. So some of the cool stuff with Vader and Ahsoka fighting. So that's some of the stuff that I know that design's working on. So it's in the early stages. So some of the stuff that I just mentioned potentially could get cut, but that's there. And then there's other stuff too. I think one of the things you've seen with some of the bigger virtual sets is there's, you'll have these themes, but then you'll have like, a WAP helper thrown in there, an ASM helper thrown in there, a droid helper thrown in there, like the female card that we were talking about, a mirror of that, or meta cards. So for instance, if ISB continues to put up results, someone might propose like a anti-spy card or something like that, or swarm if the swarm decks are good, whatever it is, the meta stuff always needs to happen. So
yeah, and we alluded to a few possible episode 9 cards earlier. So
yeah,
be on the lookout for those.
And ideas can expand, and people can suggest something, and the ball rolls. People get excited about a certain arc. Oh, let's bring this deck back, or let's use this character to. I mean, the smugglers from the solo movie a great example of that, right? Because like Watch Your Step hasn't really seen too many helpers recently. It has a few here and there, like the Yarna and the Wild Card, but it hasn't really gotten like a sort of a fresh look, right? Like you're still playing Melas and you're still playing Talon Card. Those cards are, Dash Render, those cards are 22, 23 years old. You're still playing the same general like concepts, a couple smugglers and some pretty good space.
Mm-hmm.
But, a fresh wave sort of reignites the interest in an old deck is sort of what we're looking for here. And then the gangster thing, gangsters and crime, is kind of cool to have some characters that maybe aren't like 2/2 rebels or 2/2 Imperials that slot into ISB, like have some different stuff that maybe isn't, aliens that aren't just good for a court or Black Sun, but are sort of do their own thing. Would be cool to see that sort of sprout out a different direction.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Definitely looking out. Out for set 13. Any news? So I know as we get closer to the set being released, you'll see a lot of the spoilers, a lot of more of the stuff that Justin was talking about. So we'll try and do what we can on this show. So I think that's all we got for this week. So I want to thank our guest Adam, echobasetrooper, for joining us this week. And again, I want to thank my special guest host Justin Desai for coming on and filling Jerry's shoes.
Yeah, I'll probably be able to do this a few more weeks, and then
awesome.
Jerry's back on his feet and ready to regain his throne.
So we will be back next week, same time, same channel.
Same time.
We will see.
All right, guys.
Good
Take
night.
care. Anybody has questions I'll hop in the Slack chat and we can talk like a post game show a little bit. Take care, guys.
Take care, everybody.